Metro Louisville is made up of 26 districts. This podcast gives you a chance to connect with your council member and learn about what's going down in your district. Everyone, welcome to District Download. My name is Katrina Helmer, and we are here with a very exciting podcast episode because it's someone's first podcast episode ever. Thanks for joining us, Councilman Blackwell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So like I said earlier, we've been kind of starting off every episode. People who have been listening to this now will kind of get the flow. We're starting with, what is your district? You know, people from maybe the east or the west might know people from the south or from central Jefferson County. So give us the layout. What is your district and where is that?
Right. Okay. So District 12 is in PRP for the most part, although now it goes down into pretty deeply into Valley Station after the redistricting. So on the side closest to the river, it's kind of Rockford Lane down to Greenwood Road, sort of, and then on the other side from Gagel to almost to Valley Station Road to Kendall.
So what is it about District 12 that is unique? Clearly you live there. You'd have to in order to be the councilman. So what makes it unique there?
I do. Actually, I've lived in the South End all my life. I've never lived further east than New Cut Road in my life. So, District 12 is it's a great blend of, we have folks that have been there most of their adult lives. We have folks that have built their homes there and take a real pride in what they do. And then we have, some newcomers that are coming in. So it's a nice blend of folks that have been there a long time and folks that are just coming in because they're choosing to live in Southwest Jefferson County.
So let's talk about your role as a Metro councilman. When were you elected?
A long time ago, 2002.
2002.
Yeah, so I was one of the original council members.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, what is your experience coming back every single time? I've been asking all the council members, what is it about working with Metro Council that you clearly have to find either intriguing or exciting or purposeful?
Yeah, so when I ran in 2002, I ran on the platform of being a strong voice for our end of town. I was concerned about the merger and that, how the merger would work for us in our area. Most of the folks in our area did not vote for the merger, and so they had they had a lot of concerns as well. And so that's what's kind of driven me, is just continuing to be that voice. And what catches you too when it comes to being a council person, or I guess any elected official. So when I first started, we have some folks that were here a long time, and I thought, I'll never be down there that long. But you do one project, and projects don't end up at the end of a term. So you've got something hanging over, and you're like, well, I'll finish that up this term, and then we'll see if I'll take another or run for another. And then there's something else and something else and something else. At some point, you just have to say, okay, I've done my share, but I'm not there yet. I really still do enjoy it and feel like I'm a good voice for our end of town.
Well, we're glad to have you around, and I know your guests will transition to that for this episode, something that is really important to District 12 for you, and I have a feeling this is going to be a very fun episode. Just a side note to everyone before we started, it took us a while to get started because there was just so much giggling going on in this room, and I feel like that's going to continue, and I think that's great. So I'm going to toss it over to you, and you can introduce your guests.
Absolutely. So I have with me today a couple of guests from Harbor House. I have Maria Smith with me and also Karen Fallon. Harbor House is Jewel in District 12. It wasn't originally in District 12. It was just outside of District 12, but we were happy it is now in District 12. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what Harbor House does and all the fun things that they do and all the really, really important work that they do as well. So Maria has been with them not quite from the beginning, but pretty close, almost. It was founded by the families, and you can tell us a little bit about how Harbor House got started and its initial mission, and then how you got to be a part of it.
Sure, and thank you for having Harbor House as your first.
Yeah, excited
podcast for District 12. We are at Incarnation Catholic Church, and the reason we're there is that 30 years ago, the parents got together and wanted to have something for their adult children with disabilities to do. and they didn't have a place to meet. So they went and asked the pastor at Incarnation, can we come here to meet and have a place for them to gather? And they did. But then we moved out of your district from there and went over on St. Andrew Church Road. And when I got involved, it was 26 years ago. And the parents said, come and see what we do. Come and try us out. And ended up doing a class study for Harbor House and fell in love with the people. We basically bring together individuals that have not a lot of options in our community, that are disabled, and they've graduated from high school. They're mandated to receive services until age 21, and then they have to find their own services. The parents didn't have any options. So they started this program, and in the daytime, we take care of their vocational, health, wellness, educational, all the needs that they have after they graduate from high school. Training and development is a big thing for our folks, because if you don't continue the educational aspects of what they've learned in school, you regress and you lose them. So it was very important for the parents to have a place that was safe and it was a place that they could count on. The yellow school bus came every day, picked up these individuals, took them to school. The parents also had some respite. They had time for themselves to do the things that they needed to do. But then that yellow school bus quit coming at age 21. And what were they to do? So that's how they started and why they started and founded Harbor House, to give these individuals something outside of their home.
And then you decided to move back to District 12. So tell us about that move and the building and all the programs that you've been able to add since you've added the room over at the new building.
Well, 20 years ago.
New building.
20 years ago, we're on the cusp of another one, but 20 years ago we broke ground on the building that we're in today. We're able to add day vocational, educational components to what we do, but in a much broader sense of the word. We also offer respite, weekend respite, so it gives the families an opportunity to have time for themselves. We staff that with our staffing folks that work with them every day so that they know the person that they're coming to stay with for the weekend. We also do supported employment, so folks can work there on site in our mail business and bulk mailing services, but they also can go out in the community and work at a job, and they can do a combination of the two. I had a lady a long time ago from Jefferson County Public Schools came to see me, and she said, I've got this young man, he needs a place to go. The parents are concerned because they can get a job, but sometimes their jobs are 10, 14, 15 hours a week, but I'm gone 40 hours a week for my job. What do I do? And we said, well, they can go out and they can work in the community, and then they can come back here and be the other aspects that they want to do can be taken care of here. So it was a way to take care of a person for their whole day. It was to give them social outlets. It's to give them opportunities to engage in the community in other ways. They volunteer in many different ways. Gave them an opportunity to earn a paycheck. They're on site. They'll come show you their paycheck or what they've done. They keep track of all that they've done, and they're going to go buy something with the money they earned from doing the bulk mail and fulfillment business. And I know you've done that with us before, so we appreciate your business. But it's really an opportunity for them to have a social life and to have a life outside of the home, and a life that they're independent with, and they know they've got a great place to come. If you come to tour Harbor House, they'll say it's the happiest place on earth.
It really is.
And it is. They love it. It's joy is joy, joy. And Karen can talk a little bit about what her brother's been able to experience at Harbor House.
My brother's been a participant at Harbor House for 22 years, so therefore I've been involved that long. Both my parents are deceased, and he lives with me and my husband. We raised I have two sons. We raised them the same time we had gotten Bud. So Harbor House has been very personal for me. I've been involved with them, like I said, 22 years, first as that parent/caregiver that needed the services, because I was a young mom that still worked, and I had taken on this responsibility, and I thought, I don't know where to go. What do I do? So I had him in a couple of other programs for a few years, and it just wasn't a good fit. I thought he was just sitting in a room where he was going, and I thought, he's young. He's got a purpose. He needs to be out in this community. He has something to offer. So a friend at church had asked me if I'd heard of Harbor House, and I was like, no. And so she said, well, you need to go meet with Maria Smith. So that happened, was about going on 23 years ago, actually. So I went over and met with Maria, and the minute I walked in the door, I told everybody, I said, I felt like this ton of bricks was just lifted off of my shoulders. It was like, we're home. This is just the answer to a prayer that I've had. Like I said, I took my brother in. He's lived with me for 32 years. So I continued to work. I became a volunteer. I joined the board, was a board member for a number of years when my term was up. I told my husband, it's your turn. You need to get involved. So he did. He ended up was the president of the board for several years. So we started out that route, always advocated for Harbor House in the community because people that need these services a lot of times don't know where to go or who to ask. So when I worked in the dental field, like I said, for 25 years prior to being an employee at Harbor House. But I had all my Harbor House stuff right at my front desk, right where I was at. And any and every opportunity that I had to talk about Harbor House because it meant so much to me. And a number of the participants that we have today are referrals. And the parents, or one of them was a sibling, they did not know what to do. They were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, she says they were new patients for the dentist, for example. And she saw that, and she saw my brother. And so it started that whole conversation. And she was like, we did not know where to go. She says, my brother's been sitting at home. My parents are getting older. I work. I can't be there to take care of them. So that's kind of how I got involved. Continued to do that and promote and educate the community. And about 7 years ago, almost 7, maybe going on 8 years ago, I would actually clean the building on the weekends at Harbor House. And I happened to walk in one Friday evening, and Maria was still sitting in her office, and I said, hey, are you in there creating my next job? She just kind of snickered, and we chit-chatted for a moment and caught up, and I went on, worked, went home. Well, about 6 months later, she calls me. She says, can you come over and talk to me? And, I'm like, oh, my gosh, what happened? What did Bud do? So I went in, and she mentioned this Home Sweet Home. It's a non-medical personal service agency model that she was wanting to get started, and she asked if I had any interest. And I was like, well, I do because I love what you all do, but, I'm not at that point in my career. I'm still liking what I do. I said, how about if I help out on my Fridays and in the evening? So that's how I first got involved is doing that. Of course, a few years later, she said, okay, we need you full time. So I transitioned into that, and I have not looked back, and I'm very, very honored to be a part of a wonderful organization that helps the community. So
how many of the participants are involved in that program?
In the Home Sweet Home, we had about 10. COVID has, kind of shut things down. That program is I'm very passionate about it. I'm not in that. I'm the development director now, so I transitioned from that manager, but it's still my baby, if you will. I can't let go.
Thriving.
Because for me, I witnessed it was Home Sweet Home. We went into a lot of homes for seniors to help them age in place, and we would go in and do light housekeeping, or we'd stop and pick up something from them from their pharmacy, or we'd stop and pick up a few groceries. And then so we had, general public, if you will, people that went in to clean, but we also offered opportunities for adults with disabilities to work with us. And so then we would take them with us. And for me, it was watching the relationships and the bond. Neither one of the other two could care less if I was there. But it was watching them connect and help each other. For example, we had one gentleman, he was 94. We called him Grandpa. And he didn't, first when his daughter was like, Dad, would you let Harbor House come in and clean? I don't want nobody coming here cleaning my house. I clean my house. And she said, well, this is helping give somebody with a disability an opportunity to earn a paycheck. And he was like, oh, well, that's totally different. So he was helping somebody, yet we were going in, and the people that we serve at Harbor House were helping the seniors, and just a beautiful bond would form. And it's just something that's, a lot of people don't realize it. I grew up with my grandmother. She lived with us. So for me, I've always had that connection with seniors. My twin brother has Down syndrome, and there was me. So this is something that has just been instilled with me from the get-go, and it's made me who I am. And I'm very blessed. I'm thankful to be there.
Harbor House is in District 12, but you don't just, all the participants aren't from District 12. Talk a little bit about where the participants for Harbor House come.
Participants for Harbor House come from all over the city. We have transportation now. We have 9 vehicles, so we can do door-to-door service. We have 3 more vehicles, so we'll have a total of 12. So they come from outside the city limits as well, from Bullitt County, from Shelbyville, and from Odom County. So we're able to bring them into the work, and then take them home. We transport them to medical appointments. So that allows us to serve the entire community.
So talk a little bit about all this conversation about the kind of working with folks with disabilities and also with the elderly. So you've got some plans for that. Talk a little bit about the new plans about how Harbor House is thinking about expanding. Well, not thinking about how Harbor House is expanding its programming.
Yeah, I said that the other day to our project manager. I said, we're getting there. And he said, no, you have to change that. Yeah. We are there.
Yeah, you're there.
It is happening.
It's happening.
Started.
I was there when you cut the ribbon. I
well,
broke ground.
That's right. We put the shovel in the dirt.
Yes. I hope to be there when you cut the ribbon.
That's right. Intergenerational Life Center is a new building that's going up, but it's programs that we're going to bring to the community, and it's about the community giving to each other. This was back in probably 1988 or so. I watched my grandmother with my children, and she would come and play, and she liked nothing better than to be on the floor with kids. Now, I'm a grandmother, and I know that.
Right.
So that son he's on his fourth child coming, all 4 boys. So I'm on the ground a lot.
Yeah.
On the floor a lot with him. But anyhow, I would watch this relationship between my grandmother and my sons and think, how do you get children and seniors together to benefit one another? Well, in the course of doing some studies at school and starting, I called my aunt because we had a backed up bathtub. When I got a hold of her on the phone, I started to share with her about this intergenerational model that I was putting together. She said, would people with disabilities fit in that? I said, I think they would fit well. So she invited me to come over, got to see the programs in action and what they were doing. That's how I got involved with Harbor House to begin with. Well, about 5 years ago or so, the board of directors came back and said, it's time for us to do some other things and to have some more effect on the community. Where do you think we need to go? So we started to explore a little bit more about this intergenerational model and to find out more about that. Our COO at the time, Phil Kramer, went to research it and found a place called St. Anne's in Milwaukee. Sister Edna runs that program and has for years. So about 7 years ago, I had an opportunity to go up for a conference for Generations United and we got to tour her facility. She was so successful with the first one, they put a second one in Milwaukee. So when I came back from that, I said, okay, this is definitely the way we need to go because it serves our community and allows the community to come together and serve one another. We'll have tutoring programs for the children. We will have a building that will offer medical, so we'll have dental, medical, vision. Also, we'll have a spa-like area. A lot of times our seniors who are aging have to go into a nursing home prematurely because they can't take care of their own personal needs, so we'll have an opportunity to do that. We also will partner with another outfit that will do an expanded spa area, if you will, take care of the hair, the nails, pedicures, facials, massages. So that's going to be a great benefit. While their students are learning, our people get pampered. They can't wait. Right. There are opportunities to explore the arts, the music, culinary, many opportunities in the community to come together and to be there together instead of silo and the individuals with disabilities over here and the children over here and the seniors over here. We bring them together under one roof. And it's a beautiful thing, like Karen said when we started Home Sweet Home, and that was part of the entry into this model was to see how can we see how these relationships benefit one another and how does that look and how do we do that. So when we did that and we saw the benefit of that, it wasn't just earning the paycheck, it was the personal relationships that matter so much. And it's really about the community, getting back to the community. I think it'll take a whole generation of people coming through this model to really understand with the children the benefits of this. They say children are 11 months ahead of their peers by the time they enter kindergarten by being in a model like this. So there's a lot of research from Generations United who's done a lot of work around this, and they're excited to see this one come to Louisville. It's the first of its kind. It's state of the art, and it's the first one in Louisville.
Right in District 12.
That's right.
That's right.
So, so do you, with the young kids that you're working with, is there a target for them? Are you targeting particular ones, or is it just open to anyone who wants to be a part of the program?
The new building.
Or do you know that yet?
Yes, the new building that we're building will be before and after school care.
Okay.
And then
is that just open to anyone who wants the services, though?
Yes, it's both children with and without disabilities.
Okay, right.
Which is very important because it's so hard to find child care.
It
and
is.
It's hard to find child care for folks who have disabilities as well. Yeah. And then the other center that we're in today, once we move out into the new center.
The new building, I called it.
The new building.
It's 20 years old.
Yeah. That building will be converted to a child enrichment center. So it will take 6 weeks up to school age and about 94, 96 kids in that building that we can serve. So we'll be able to serve the whole family.
Hundreds of people
Yes.
being served.
Yes.
In the end. Yeah.
It's so exciting. I can't wait.
I know.
Then there'll be a walking track around the perimeter of the ball fields. There's 14 acres we sit on. It's our own land that build the building on, but we're in concert with Incarnations where our current building sits. So they've given us permission to put in a walking track. So other amenities there will refresh the playgrounds and that kind of thing. So it's exciting.
It is exciting. Very exciting. Speaking of exciting, so you have the world famous Ducky Derby is coming up.
Yeah.
And so talk to us a little bit about, first of all, for those who haven't been to the event, talk to us a little bit about what is the Ducky Derby and where you got that idea, how it got started, and give us a little history on the Ducky Derby.
Well, the Kentucky Derby is in its 19th year. And 19 years ago, we're looking for ways to be known in the community and to get our name out there. We had gone through a campaign.
Something unusual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd gone through the campaign to build the building that we're in today.
Right.
It's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, the new building.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the process of doing that, 9/11 happened. And we had that, all the pillars in our communities, the giving had stopped on an individual basis, foundations, businesses. We were just really at a standstill with the campaign. And we said, we really need to have people know more about who we are. And I had a staff member at the time who'd been out in Colorado and had seen this duck race. And it started in Arizona by a couple of guys that were Fiesta Bow, and they wanted to have some entertainment for the people who were there. And then they said, well, what if we just launch this for nonprofits across the U.S.? And they went international as well. And they would allow one entity in each city to be able to host this kind of an event. And so it wasn't another golf scramble, but it was a duck race. Right. So we said, well, let's grab it and let's see what we can do with it. We were blessed to get a lot of sponsors and repeat sponsors that come back every year. And every year, Rick, for the last, since 2002, he's been our flag bearer.
I really hate that we keep talking about 20 years. And 20, we probably could have done without that.
I know.
All those references.
I know.
Anyway,
it just keeps coming up.
I know. I've been involved, I guess.
20 years.
Yes. So, it's from the first one, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
19. This is our 19th. So we hope to launch 50,000 ducks. It's down on the river. We're part of Festiville. We are an official KDF event now. And so that's exciting. We've moved it from the fall to the spring, and that's been very beneficial for both of us. So we bring a host of people down for the event. Bring your families. These ducks they used to come off of barges, ACBL, but Jeff Boat sold. And so now we have cargo shipping container. Able Construction helped us with, and Paget, who has the cranes. And so then they dump the ducks in the water, and the first one that comes through the little container we have down there, a little chute,
gets
a car.
First.
And so the Swope family dealerships are giving the car away this year with us, and we've been very fortunate with the Swopes. They've been very good to us.
So what are we giving away this year?
What is it, Karen?
It's a Mitsubishi Mirage.
Mirage. All right, there we are.
I always butcher the names. I'm like,
okay.
It's all wrapped with duck decal, so you'll see us all over town with it.
Yes.
I'm actually driving it today.
And when you win, you're able to. Can you keep the duck decals on if you like, or do you have to take them off?
You can leave them on for a little bit. I wouldn't leave them on for forever.
You can't do it forever.
I don't know. One of the ladies that won it before said her grandkids called it Grandma's duck car.
Yeah.
So she left them on. So our insurance agent called me and said, Maria, your car's, we don't have your car insured. And I said, it's not our car.
Yeah.
He said, it's still got the wrappers on it.
It's great advertisement. So
right.
we're going to keep it on there for a couple of years for you. That works. Right. Works. All right. So originally, how has that grown over the years? I know you said you started. Where did we launch originally? At
Barnsley Mormon Landing, was the first year. But that was logistically very involved because all the steps there and trying to get the ducks out.
Right.
12,000 ducks, and now we're up to 50,000 ducks.
And the water on that side is
and
up and down.
And
the water on the hull is up and down, obviously, but very much more on that.
And then the boats that were helping us had to come through the locks.
Right.
So it became a very logistically heavy and long day for them to get in and out of the locks. And so to be across the river was much more doable for them.
Right.
So we moved it.
Yeah. And then when did you say, what year did it become a part of the Kentucky Derby Festival?
I want to say about 7 years ago.
Oh, has it been 7 years?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, not 20 years ago,
Right,
7.
7.
Yeah, it's just 7. All right.
When the ducks fly.
Yeah. So we continue to grow there. And how can folks be involved? You mentioned you can come down on the day of. I'm not sure that you mentioned what the day of is, what day that is. But
It
tell
is
us-
April 30th.
There we go.
We do the last Saturday in April. So you have Thunder, then you have the Ducky Derby, and then you have the Kentucky Derby.
All right. So it's sandwiched between Thunder and the Derby.
That's right.
One more thing you need to do. Be down there on Saturday.
That's
Where do you
right.
come?
We launch at 2 o'clock this year.
2 o'clock. And if you're
Come
coming,
back Joe's Crab Shack.
Joe's Crab Shack, right.
Is right behind.
And if you really want to be involved, you want to have a duck in that race, right?
That's
And
right. And for
you can
$5.
You can go to the Derby and you can just watch the horses, or you can bet on the horses. So how do you bet on a duck here?
And everybody wins when they bet on a duck.
There we go.
Because all of the proceeds from the duck adoptions go back to our programs and services. We have sponsors that pay for all of the expenses of the event. And so truly every dollar that you spend on adopting ducks, you can get back to Harbor House and our programs and services. It's $5 a duck. I always tell everybody go for the flocks.
Right.
And you go to
Here we
Maria's
go.
Flocks. Actually, you can go to HHL or gotducks.org is where you go. Adopt your ducks. There are teams there. But 30 ducks in the race for $100, so you get 10 extra ducks.
Wow.
And then if we give
And
away
extra
second,
chances
third,
to win that win that car.
yes, and then you also have a chance at $1 million. If your duck is the lucky duck that comes through the chute on, we take the third one because we're Channel 32 is our sponsor, so we've always taken the third duck as $1 million duck. So if that number matches the number that was pre-selected, then you could win $1 million.
Wow. Yeah.
But you for sure could win a car.
Yeah. For $100, you got a chance at a car. You got a chance at $1 million. And you said second and third prices, $1,000
and $500.
Wow. Sounds like a good deal.
It is.
Anything else you want to tell us about Harbor House before we go?
We love to have company. We need volunteers. We're all about bringing the community together, so we always have opportunities for volunteers to come in. So say you have an art or a craft that you like to do. You want to come teach a class. Reach out to us, 719-0072, extension 529, and you'll reach the development department. We can get you scheduled to come out and take a tour, learn more about us, meet some of the people that we serve, and most importantly, fall in love with us and leave there very, very happy.
And you will. And
That's
you will.
right.
It is really a place of joy. I remember one time when I came there, we were doing a mailing and for the council.
Mm-hmm.
And so my picture was on it, and one of the participants was looking down and doing the work. And then they looked down and they said, "Oh, that's you."
That's right.
It is.
Well, we had somebody say it's like going to the Cheers bar. Once they know
Yeah.
you, they know your name.
That's right.
And you walk in, they go, Rick, 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 Rick.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
it
It's a
is.
wonderful place to visit, wonderful place, I'm sure, to work, and a wonderful place to volunteer. So hopefully people will take you up on that offer. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. I appreciate your time and appreciate all the enthusiasm that you have for the folks that you serve at Harbor House and for being such a wonderful part of District 12.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support, and thank you for having us today.
All right. Very good.